All right, welcome. Smashcenter is back. Suar, PG Stats, Panda Global, the whole bit. If you're tuning in because Fortnite is down, that's really sad. I'm sorry that happened to you. Weirdest marketing move in the world, but it got everybody talking. So welcome. This is Smashcenter, where we go over the latest tournament controversies, placements, results, and more. Coney will join us here in a second, but first, if this is your first time tuning in on the live broadcast, welcome. We're going to have an extended live Q&A where we're going to feature your questions right from the chat. The ruder, the better, the spicier, the nicier. If that's a word. It's not. But in any case, this will be on YouTube as the cut VOD, and then later, of course, on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever else you get your favorite podcasts. So welcome. We're going to quickly go over Thunder Smash 3, of course, since it was this past weekend and one of the only PG Art events. I know that there was an event in Singapore we might lightly touch on. And then, of course, we're going to preview just a tiny bit of this 2GG event that's also happening this next week called Nightmare on Smashville. Other than that, welcome. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube so you can get the latest in Smash news, Panda news, PGR news, Smashcenter news, etc. But for now, we're gonna have Coney join us here on the mic on the show. Coney, how's everything been? How you doing, man?
Hi, everybody. I'm kind of in a bad mood. I'm a little annoyed today because yeah, it's just work stuff. I did some work stuff before this, so sorry if I'm a little short. Forgive me if I'm sort of a little curt in some ways, but no, it's good. I'm still tired after Thunder and constantly traveling. This is going to be the first weekend that I'm actually home in a while, taking care of house stuff, baby stuff, like focusing on real life. So should be good. I had a good time at Thunder. Excited to talk about it.
All right, well, we're going to jump right into that. Chat, be wary. Do not tilt Coney any more than he is already once we get to Q&A. Otherwise, we will face the wrath.
Let me just make this clear, too, because everybody thought that we were mad at each other. I'm not mad at Suar. I was never mad at Suar because everybody was.
Let's get into that later. Let's get to that later. Okay.
Yeah,
so jumping into it immediately, the TriCast. This past weekend featured a top 8 for Smash. That was pretty cool. We saw a lot of craziness, but also we saw our first Café con Leche TriCast. That's the branding moment, we're going to call it. But it was yourself, Vicky, and me. We commented top 8. That was fun. And yeah, it's funny. Anybody who thought we were upset with each other just didn't know.
It's crazy to me. So a theme of this show is that Smashers don't know anything that isn't Smash. Here's another example. Like, you guys don't get the standard, like, setup. It's jokes and then straight man. That's it. Like, we're not mad at each other. We're making jokes. It's funny.
We hate ourselves, not each other. That's what you got to keep in mind.
It was so weird to go back and read all that stuff.
It was great. So yeah, we were at the event. Talking about this grand finals at the end, getting the rest of top 8 in order though. This event was, of course, one of the more talked about / not talked about events for a couple of reasons. We got into a previous show, but long story short, Thunder Gaming, basically the creators of Thunder Smash, coming to us from California and Long Beach, have launched a series of events that have had a variety of reception, from ultra negative to ultra positive, depending on who you're asking. Catered mostly towards top players. I don't think that's wrong to say. They have insane pots. They have production that is above, or should be above, other events, given the scale that Thunder Studios, the owner of Thunder Smash, has at its disposal. If you didn't see on Twitter, Hungrybox met Chief Keef. He was filming a music video there. So this place does a lot of things, not just Smash. They started doing Smash. And as everyone knows, when you start doing Smash as an event organizer, there's a lot of kinks and there's a lot of things to work out. So the first one was won by, of course, The Buzz. That's where we got Smash lowlights, I think 2 or 3.
One of those.
They were trying to figure things out. And then the second one, MVD one, which Dark Wizzy most notably got second, and a lot of money spent on all sides, and of course the prize money as well. I think the first one was 20,000, this one was 10,000, and so is Thunder Smash 3, which brings us now to this past weekend, in which essentially an event was started that was supposed to turn into every 100 entrants we're going to invite someone new. So it was advertised as such, and you were going to get the talents of which we did get after all because they just ended up bringing everybody. Ben Gold from Australia, young Eevee, Bowser Jr. from the Netherlands, all the Japanese players that were here. So we had Teak, Hamime, Shutone, Leah, Sue, all present, even Raito. Even at the event, Raito is announced as a player now for Thunder. So if you are scared of Thunder not being invested, they are even more invested because they have a top PGR player as well as everybody else they have involved. So that kind of sets the stage. Coney, what did you see from your perspective, considering the fact we were both there? It was pretty good, pretty fun, pretty thundery.
Yeah, very thundery. I think they're getting better at what they're trying to do. Personally, and this is just me speaking, I think what Thunder has to do is, I think that it's probably they're going to run into issues if they expect hundreds of entrants and like lots of media coverage and all this other stuff. I don't think that's going to work. So what I think they need to do personally is lean into the whole spectacle of the thing. That means more call me Butters, maybe not obnoxiously so, maybe not every hour, but kind of lean into that. Commentary that's a little looser, some exhibitions that'll get people watching. I feel like Thunder shouldn't exist as just another big professional Smash tournament, because I think that they have enough resources and enough vision to go for the talent of the scene and focus on them and make it worth watching there. And I think this weekend sort of also showed that, because they bring out so many of the best players, like 100-man A tier, which is nuts. I mean, the size of these events aren't what makes them remarkable. It's the talent of the people playing, and then all the people that they have behind the scenes that are making content or making skits or commentating or doing special brackets or whatever. And I think that's really what they need to focus on. I think they're definitely getting better for sure. And I think Thunder Smash 3 is a step in the right direction. Still some odd things, but I think I think it's an upward trajectory.
Yeah, we talked about it on the car right there, you and I, but for everybody that doesn't know, there was also skits. Omni was there. Mighty Key filmed things that apparently are going to be released later this week. And they also had the Hard DK exhibition from Alpharad showing up for quite literally 2 hours, taking a flight to come in and have an amiibo slap up a bunch of PGR and international players. Yep. Without getting more into it, because I think this will be a conversation that will be revisited each time there's a Thunder event, I'll just say, and naming it, there's clearly something disconnected locally that has been subtweeted at, said explicitly. Of course, social media not being the best, forum for airing out grievances. There has been Thunder blocking people, Thunder commenting sarcastically to local SoCalians, the Void thing.
Today, yeah.
Wait, something happened with Void today?
You didn't see it?
Oh, boy.
It was last night really late. Basically, so Toasty posted something that was hey, everybody.
Toasty did socials, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, Toasty, it was hey, everybody give your feedback. What did you think was good? What did you think was bad? And Void, again, said that he didn't like the whole Twitter thing. And him and Christian had some words, because from Christian's perspective, he's why are you bringing that up? That was a Thunder Smash 2 thing, and we stopped doing it.
Void, what Twitter thing?
The fact that at one point we had to retweet basically everything that Thunder was retweeting. So they didn't quite take control of our Twitter accounts, but anything they would post, we would automatically post. We had a system thing. We gave them a token to do that. And we didn't think it was a big deal. We were okay, that's fine. But then they posted 5 times an hour. So we took that off. And Void said that, he obviously didn't like that. But that was at Thunder Smash 2, and they didn't revisit it 3. So it was one of those things that it felt like an experiment, but it didn't work, and they didn't ask for it anymore. And in a thread asking for criticism of 3, Void dropped that one of 2, and so him and Christian had a little bit of back and forth. But it was it's just there's this weird bad blood stuff going on, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, Void dropped out of the tournament. He said he was going to come, and he said he wasn't really feeling it, which is kind of a Void thing to do, right? That's not especially that's not a shot at Thunder in particular, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that obviously has its own thing. But yeah, I mean, clearly something has happened, things that are both public and not. because, you know, SoCal is a very active, very pumped up region. Nightmare on Smashville shows us this weekend that there are plenty of people around to register. It has over 300, I believe, or at least it's at 400 now. Just looking at the TTS right here, it's 292 entrants. It's already hit A tier. Oh no, it's a C tier right now. Oh, this might not be updated. I don't know, but in any case, Nightmare on Smashville is like a big deal in SoCal, and you have a couple people coming over for compendiums and all this other stuff. But again, it's like T walked out with 5,000, which is more than Zachary got for winning Big House, which was about 10 times bigger, right? 86 people to nearly 800 people, I think Big House was, or 700, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Big House being not good for Smash Ultimate Smash 4. People have said and evidenced, and it's acknowledged. The tournament's very lackluster. It's like you go, you're going to be in Detroit, you get this hotel room, and then the tournament has no setups. It's big, it's large, it's empty, but people go to that. So it's weird. There's obviously a legacy pull to it, but here Thunder's running something in-house, and 86 people show up. So that kind of sets the stage for like what Thunder was about. The tournament itself, though, was insane because like we said, there's so much talent there. We got 7th tying Kamame and Leah, 5th to Shootone and Dark Wizzy. Salem got 4th. Cosmos at 3rd, which is a very, very important thing because, as I was saying on the desk, Cosmos hadn't top 16'd an S tier, and even though this wasn't an S tier, at least he was in the top 3 for an A tier. He hasn't top 16 an S tier all season this season. And then Mars, of course, getting 2nd, still on a roll since basically Smash Factor 8, and then T winning the whole thing, which is now really getting people. I think you just cannot ignore Pac-Man. You can't ignore T. T 15th ranked in the world, now pretty much slated to stay at or above. And so that was the event, and we had interesting casting. We had, of course, us doing top 8. We'll get into the Q&A after if people want to know all about it. But yeah, disappointing. I think that the reaction is kind of like, because here's the thing with Smashers, if your first event doesn't stick its landing, if it's not like all incredible and without any issues, which is a rarity when you're talking about events, and people love it, and then people want to go to the next one. But if you experience any sort of trouble at your first time, then that's like buyer beware, and then people spread it. And even if you fix those things or attempt to fix those things, people just stay away from it like it's asbestos, honestly.
Smashers are a complaining people, and if you don't get it 100% right the first time, people don't give you time for it.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that things that have quote-unquote stuck the landing in many cases are even less remarkable than what Thunder Smash has tried to do. And that's not even a shot at any event, but like when an event like rents out half of a hotel ballroom and has like a small stream, and you know, maybe it brings in Kataro, and maybe it brings in like TK and EE, like people are like, yeah, that was amazing, but it was like not that crazy, right? It's not insane.
It's just a tournament.
It's just a tournament.
When you have more ambition, you leave the opportunity for more things to go wrong. So flying out 16 international people, if some of the travel wires get crossed or some things mess up and 5 or 6 can't go, that's going to make you look shady. Meanwhile, if you don't ask anybody to show up, hey, everything's good. So, I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, I guess, but it's, I feel like they're unfairly, they are unfairly judged in some aspects, not in others, and that's where it gets hard because, like, again, nuance is a weird concept for a lot of these people. But Thunder they definitely have room to grow, and I think they recognize that. I feel like they're open to that.
Yeah, I mean, they're clearly bringing in people to sort of help with that, and again, it's difficult. I mean, both us being there, I mean, yes, we had an experience that was biased. We had our own frustrations. I mean, as a lot of people could tell with the production, yes, there was audio desync, all this and that, but like there was a lot going on. I mean, there was things that, yes, should be not happening at a standard Smash event, but also this wasn't a standard Smash event. I mean, Keith, one of the people from Panda, everyone recognizes him. He was in a production truck that was off-site, you know, and they were running this from there, and they were trying, you know, they had the skits, like they did. It was a single day. Like what was able to be accomplished in a single day is pretty remarkable. But at the same time, like that's going to be like live production. Like Sage tells us time and time again from ESA, like live production compared to edited production is a totally different story. And so that's what happened. But like Smash or Thunder Smash 4, we'll see if they try something in a similar vein. I think it needs to be something that's either partly involving or fully involves in some capacity the SoCal leadership, the SoCal 2GG squad, something. Because as we'll see this weekend with Nightmare in Smashville, like no shots to 2GG, but it's not the same thing we've been getting from Smash 4, where ESA clearly was involved in a production capacity and made it look and sound what we remembered Civil War for being, what we remembered the 2GGC finals being. So now that hasn't been the case, you tune in, it's not that crazy. Like, people have acknowledged that, and again, it's funny because people also like swear by it, and then it's not that high octane production value. So do we want that? Do we want to be seen as that, or do we want just your regular hotel ballroom? I mean, it's frustrating to say the least, because then when things like Thunder, for example, next year lose interest as an org themselves, and people are going to be wondering, why don't we get more opportunities, get this and that? And like, here it is. So either support it or don't support it and criticize it with feedback that they can use. Or if there's evidence that they're not using that feedback, which up to this point, the beginning being shaking or not, like they at least have to listen. And if they don't, then that's what you point to, you know? But I saw from Meru having his travel visa pretty much because of like the travel ban. And then there was a situation with T, the Link player, like not being able to come. People were immediately being like, not surprised, shady org, this and that. And it was like, what about the 8 other people they flew? Like, what about Japan that they completely brought over? It was just insane. And meanwhile, like 2GG is running polls on Twitter to get other people to fund people from out of the country to come, not funding them themselves, which again, that is the nature of a compendium, but like, it doesn't have to be that way, you know? So constantly at its own worst enemy, the Smash community. But for this case right now, we're talking a lot about the event itself, but from the actual PGR implication structure, like T did it. And so that's what should be celebrated. That's what should be known. He'll have a banner next to NVIDIA and to Buzz now. The 4th one, who knows? We'll see. Is it at the end of the year? Are we done for the rest of the year? Does Thunder come back at the beginning? We'll see. But another thing to note is, one, I'm going to talk about this before we get into the Q&A, but EVO Japan was announced. Did you hear about that, Coney?
Yeah, same weekend as Genesis. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, tough. EVO Japan, same weekend as Genesis. We're going to close out on our Thunder Smash 3 recap. If you think we missed anything, save it for the Q&A. But Genesis 7, pretty much clashing with EVO Japan, which is not really their fault. It's, you know, things like that. For context, by the way, like when you have situations involving events overlapping, there had to be something having to do with the venue. And when EVO Japan is planning, they're not considering necessarily just Smash, you know, like this is a multi-game event. So it happens to be on Smash's weekend of arguably one of the biggest majors of the year, but also like there's Street Fighter and all these other games that also have majors throughout the year. So it's just like someone was going to lose, and it ended up being us. Apparently it's already almost at 1,000 people. It's going to be in nearby Tokyo this time, as opposed to Fukuoka, which was the last one. I probably said that wrong. But EVO Japan in the past, not really attended by Americans. I know that Cosmos went, Nakat went, MVD went, JJ Rockets was there randomly. A couple other people that were able to travel. This one, I don't expect any difference. However, there already are confirmations that much of Japan's top talent is going to be at EVO Japan and not at Genesis.
That kind of sucks.
It makes sense though, but at the same time, like this is the first time Ultimate is going to be at an EVO Japan, considering EVO Japan last year did not happen, I don't believe, and Ultimate wasn't out by then. So that could be, and I meant EVO Japan this year, 2019. That could be the beginning of something. I don't know. And if EVO Japan is something that's constantly going to be at the beginning of the year and clashing potentially with a Frostbite or a Genesis, then I mean, that's how it's kind of going to be. So EVO Japan going to be the same weekend as Genesis 7. And then also, Nightmare on Smashville is this weekend, so we'll see how that turns out. Anything else you want to add, Coney, before we jump into this Q&A?
Nope.
All right. So, since this episode and this weekend was the weekend was slow, so the episode will kind of reflect that. Topics. Didn't really want to cover any. People are complaining about characters. I think I saw Mars tweet, can we get one weekend where we don't complain about characters? Absolutely not, Mars. So we're going to open the floor out to Q&A. If you're in the live chat, go ahead and tag us with your questions. We're going to take them now live over Twitch chat. If you're hearing us on Spotify or on iTunes and you missed your chance already, this is already a day later. But let's see what the people got. So in the chat, we got already a couple coming in from... Oh, what's up, E? He's here. Maple6029 asks, Panda Global, what do you guys think of Hugs' tweet about how Evo did Genesis, the Smash community, dirty? All right, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Do you know what he's talking about?
Well, what we just talked about.
But is that... All right, let's see what Hugs said.
I don't think that's anything of malice. I think they just booked events at the same time and realized late. Like, I don't think Evo has their eyes or their finger on the pulse of what Smash is doing all the time.
Oh my god, yeah. So I guess... So, like, I don't... Yeah, I see this tweet by Hugs. It says, same weekend as Genesis, this is actually a BS move by Evo, and before you say that it being another part of the world makes it okay, think of all the Japanese talent that might skip on Genesis now. I don't think anyone says it's okay or not okay. This is like a literal international event with multiple games at it that is not going to consider a grassroots scene outright because it doesn't have to. Like, I don't... Yeah. It's more unfortunate than it is intentional. How about that? Yeah,
it's not malice. It's just they happen to do it. That's it. Period.
Yeah, I don't think the strat here is to boycott Evo Japan. Like, it's... Both events can exist. Like, here's the realty. You're not going to get any Americans going to Japan over Evo. You're not going to get any Americans going to Evo Japan over Genesis.
Yeah.
Sorry, sneezing. But while you might get the Leos and the tweaks, I mean, I think even then that might be doubtful because Genesis still might be bigger, if that makes sense. And yeah, we'll miss Japan, but I guess we'll just miss Japan. That's not the end of the world. That'll be fine. Another question. Let's see. Hectic Heck says, Panda Global, Suar, would you gladly accept another top 8 analysis with PGR stats? PG sets, I guess, is what you meant. Personally, we didn't really talk about it during the Thunder Smash 3-bit, but talking about it now, I would love to be on a TriCast again, particularly with Coney and to some extent Vicky. Shout out to Vicky. Coney and I already have a chemistry established from this podcast, so it's like very natural, and also we're very knowledgeable about the game, and then I can fill in the blanks when it comes to numbers. So it's like you get comedy, you get analysis, and then you get like just, you know, stupidity, which is what all this weekend was really about, which is like if you didn't get it, it looked like we were just dysfunctional, but if you understood it, it was like a good time. And that's what I saw the reception like. People were like, wow, this is the best commentary ever, this is so funny. And other people were like, why is Coney yelling at a player on stage? I can't believe this, how unprofessional.
Oh everybody wants every tournament to be Evo. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh my god, Coney, what motivated you to do that?
It was funny. It was funny, and I knew that I sincerely thought that
there were like 12 people in the venue, for anyone that's curious.
There were very few people in the venue, so it was really like...
That's why it was doubly funny.
Yeah. Salem was... It was funny, and two, I didn't think Salem was gonna be upset by it. Like, I wouldn't do it if it was somebody who takes it very seriously, like Dark Wizzy. Dark Wizzy's very
like
focused
Nairo,
on it. He wants to win. Salem... I'm gonna be honest, I don't really think Salem gives a shit. Like, he cares, but I don't think he cares outside of, like, you know. I will apologize to Salem if Salem has a problem with it. If you have a problem with it, I don't care. It was really funny.
And this is where Coney is inconsiderate. Coney's an a-hole comes from.
Yeah. I mean, like, I care. If Salem has a problem with it, I'm genuinely sorry. I misread the room. I thought it would be a funny thing, you know. But Salem hasn't reached out to me. I don't think he would.
I think this is a situation where people allege problems that people should have when they're not there at all.
Exactly. Like I just.
So
I went into that block doing whatever I wanted to do. And it was like, oh my god, he's drunk, he's going crazy, he hates Suar.
Coney, Coney, were you drunk? For the chat, I wanted to know.
Drunk. I do not drink.
Coney, that's the most hilariously ironic part about the whole thing. Coney is a known non-drinker. Anytime you go to an event and people.
Hold on, Vasev's in the chat. Vasev, if Salem had a problem with it, apologize to him from me, and it's genuine, it's real. Because you talked to him. I don't think he cared, but if he did, I'm sorry.
And it was also like within the context of what was happening, it was like we broke the fourth wall. We're like, hey Salem, hey buddy, why? Like it was not. Yes, $10,000 were on the line, but that's all it was. And then once he went and did 2 call-outs, like we were done. So it wasn't anything that crazy.
Funny anymore after that.
Like and that was it. The 2,000 person crowd thought it was funny. They were laughing, and if you took it seriously, then bro, like zoom out. We're playing Smash, all right? So
I think that's what it is. I wonder if it's like, so from my perspective, and I think a lot of people that sort of came up have been in the scene for a long time, like 10 years. I'm still a dude talking about video games. Like I'm still in somebody's basement. Like, oh, he hit him with the Watsy. You know what I mean? Just like making up shit because it's funny. But now people see the desk and they see the analyst and they see the guy in the suit and the tie, and
no suits or ties.
Some people, not anymore. Remember that like 6 months of Smash 4? What the hell was that? The problem is that we have some people want Yipes, and some people want Monty. Not even Monty. Who's
Monte
like the
Cristo?
most button-up? Yeah, I'm thinking of the most button-up, straight-laced.
A league caster.
You know what I mean? And we got to be somewhere in the middle. And I think you have to read the room of an event, the feel of it. And I don't think Thunder Smash is an Evo or a Genesis or something big and prestigious. It's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of money on the line. But to me, I'm a carnival barker, and look at this. Can you believe what's going on? These guys are playing for $10,000? Mario versus Pikachu? That's ridiculous. You should come watch this. It doesn't make any sense. I'm watching a guy bite the head off a chicken. You know what I mean? It's not a freak show, but it's a carnival thing. It's a sideshow more than Evo. You know what I'm saying? I
think prestige, gotta be careful with that. It's not like that it's prestige or not. I think it's more so that the scale of the event was insane, but also it was like an unhinged broadcast.
Exactly.
It was crazy. It was cool crazy. And the thing about Evo is that's the Evo and even Genesis is a little weirder because since it's just Smash and it's Melee, it's more historical, if that makes sense. I think Thunder Smash, not saying it's historical or not, it's dude, it was an 87 person invitational. That doesn't necessarily make history more than it does just make fun content. That's what it was. It was making fun content, like a summit. A summit is not historical. Summit is a good, great time that's inclusive of all sorts of things, and that's kind of what this was like. So Coney turning around, he didn't yank the headset off Salem and start barking at him. It was if you knew that Salem was in essentially an antechamber, you couldn't hear from the stage. Mars mentioned that after the second call, he was like, is he asking Salem a question? But it wasn't there was no game happening, okay? And the most Salem would be why is the desk calling me? And that was it. It's not focus was broken, he wasn't heckling him. Anyways, kind of going on to the next question. I'll choose this one, you choose the next one. Viram in the chat. Panda Global, what spurred Coney on to grow his beard?
I literally nothing. It was after SmashCon, and I shaved before SmashCon Top 8. I was like, you know what? I wonder what'll happen. Just to be clear, this is the longest I've ever gone without shaving. I did no shave November a few years ago, and it was a nightmare. This is also clearly not good, but now I'm just wearing it to pop the boys because some people seem to like it, and I'm kind of doing it ironically. I have to shave it in the next few weeks because I have a maternity shoot with my wife. So it'll be gone soon. I kind of dig it. I don't know. People are like, oh, you got to trim it, get rid of the neck. But the problem is you're supposed to go above your Adam's apple. My Adam's apple is right here on the line, so it kind of is anyway. Anyway, I don't want to screw anything up because I never had to shave when it's this much or trim it. So I know I'll screw something up. So for now, I'm just going to continue looking like a
vagrant
homeless high schooler. Yeah, it looks awful, but I kind of like it. So I'm gonna let it rock for a little while longer.
All right. Quick question about the PGR, and then Coney choose the next one. Vanta Black asks, assuming both tournaments that weekend or a weekend get the same point total, which tournament do you predict would still be worth more for the PGR? Is this a trick question? Well, if they have the same point total, how they impact the PGR is the same. However, depending on who's there, you're going to get a different story. If you get a 2,000 person tournament that doesn't have Leo at it, or Tweak or Nairo or Samsora, but you have a 500 person tournament that racks up the same amount of points for PGR players and they're there, then that'll impact more of the rankings than 2,000, people that aren't ranked.
Sure.
I think what people need to realize is that like who's strong right now and who was strong at the beginning always changes. And for example, like I know we said all weekend like, oh, we'll get Wizzy ranked 31st this season. Like that was according to like last season's data. Now Wizzy's likely and obviously much higher. So keep that in mind. Coney, choose the next question. Let's move it on. We're gonna keep it quick.
Yeah, this is something that bothers me, so I want to talk about this. Elite Element said, for Coney, I heard the commentary on the Larry pretty biased for Mars. You may not really remember, but do you have anything to say about that? Listen, this is one of the things that makes me the maddest.
He's tilted, everybody. Careful. So I told you to be careful.
I told you. I warned you. No, it's not at Lee, and it's not at anybody in particular, but we know what we're doing. We know how to do our job. The narrative of that match is Mars is number 3 in the world, the 3rd best player, losing to somebody who is not PGR'd. We know Larry's amazing, but we've never seen him perform like this. I said multiple times that Larry was playing phenomenally, but he was taking advantage of Mars playing terribly. Objectively, if you put that Mars in front of me, I'm going to call him terrible 5 out of 5 times. It doesn't mean Mars is a bad player. It means during this set, he did not play good. Period. He wasn't playing well. Now, again, some people see that and they're like, oh, well, they're downplaying Larry's win. Absolutely not. Mars playing badly would wipe 125 viewers in this chat. There are 125 people in here. Mars playing badly would wipe all of you. You will not beat Mars if you're watching this now. Unless, let me look at the viewer list. Is Leo in here? Leo has joined the chat.
Get out of here. Players have left the server.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, somebody playing bad doesn't take away from somebody else playing good. If you look at the first 2 games of Mars versus Larry, and I said this to Mars, I actually talked about this before. Mars played terribly the first 2 games. He turned it up game 3 and he won, but then Larry also turned it up game 4, and Larry won that. And that was when Mars was playing very well. People think that we have a bias. Leo has said this, Zero has said this, that like we have a bias against them. It's not that. It's that when you win 52 tournaments in a row, somebody else that might beat you is kind of a bigger deal in that moment. Because we might be seeing something that's big. And it doesn't mean that you don't say that guy's playing well, and it doesn't mean that you don't point out their greatness, because you do, and that's what we do. And I think if you watch that set, that's what I was doing. So but the whole narrative of that set is Larry, who has not turned up in a while, playing perfectly against Mars, who is playing bad in the first 2 games.
I need to put you back in your Pokeball. Relax for a sec. Okay. I think what Lee was getting at, or Lee Element, or whoever asked that, is that as casters, there's a certain responsibility to not saying you did, okay? Because yes, you know what you're doing is what you said earlier, but not. Mm-hmm. But the messaging from top casters down to the bottom is that they would think it's okay to engage in quote unquote biased commentary. Okay. But here's the thing: is that when a viewer tunes in and they hear casters saying, "Oh, this person's this or this person's that," that affects their branding more than the win or the loss that they end up potentially getting. And that, I don't think, is a problem right now, because casters are pretty much like the same old, and like the narratives are pretty well defined. But if, like, for example, Goblin got on and you start kind of cheesing his set by saying things that are, maybe in a top 32, top 48 bracket, not by you, not by me, not by an EE, a TK, a D1er, etc., then people see that, and potential sponsors or potential fans are turned off. And I think that is the general responsibility people are talking about. But like, if you anybody, because I think that, like, as casters, and it's been said repeatedly before by a lot of players, like, they have a lot of power. They can dictate how the audience views the match, especially when you have Mango coming on versus someone else who's like maybe quote unquote laming it out, right? Using ice climbers, using whatever. And then that's the narrative that's given, as opposed to the fact that, oh, this person's employing a tactic that, okay, sure, is considered lame by the vast amount of the community, but like that's subjective, right? So to say that they're laming them out then adds to this. It's what happened to DeBuzz and all of Smash 4. It carried on into Ultimate. He's the wall. He's boring, but DeBuzz is pretty crazy, you know? And so I think casters building up a narrative, either subconsciously or not, can be dangerous. And I think that's all he meant. But for Larry and Mars, I mean, it's like, come on. Like,
I agree with that, but I think that is a wild, like, that was not what was happening.
Oh, I know. I'm saying it stems off from it. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, and I do think that there is a point that you brought up, which is that might come from the top down. So if somebody watches that set, they're like, oh, he's saying this guy's playing bad. Now I can say when my local player is playing bad, no, it's not quite the same. Because, like, I've seen Mars play hundreds of times, well, probably dozens, probably not hundreds, a lot of times at top level, and like we can identify what good Mars looks like because we've seen it.
And you know what's funny?
TK, we've all looked at it, but like if you're talking at like the mid to low level, it's like you can't saying that somebody's playing bad is you can't really call. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. And the other thing too is that I think it finally ended. The era of esports and Smash saying that's not esports, that ended. Which is interesting because like now it's been more of a Smash feel, like more of like not even the homie vibe, but kind of the homie vibe. And I think that's where commentary can get like, yeah, we're doing the TriCast top 8. Like we were ragging on not only each other but the match and the players and the event, and that's kind of like the fun. You know, it's like you try to be esports the whole time that the event loses, it's too sterile, right? So I think for Larry's case, Mars's case, Larry's in no position to lose, and Mars, like, I mean, he did lose, literally. So that's all he's technically losing, but I think everybody just needs to take a step back, because it's not at all what was happening.
You build the bones of it, which is Mars good, Mars great, Larry good, and then Larry beats Mars. Wow, that's great. Mars was playing badly, gave him 2 games for free, then he woke up, and then Larry beat him still. Like, Larry's still better that day. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Like, there are so many variables when you go into a tournament. I think people think that these people show up and they play at their peak every single day. They're 100%. You can't take away a win from this player, because then you're saying that he couldn't beat him on his best day. No, you're not saying that. Because, like, the reason Leo is so special is because he doesn't lose despite all these tournaments, despite all these variables. Like, there's so much that could go wrong, and Leo still finds a way. But normal people who are not the Terminator, like Leo is, like, they play badly sometimes. They have a stomach ache, they have a hand cramp, they have something like that, and it happens. You have to acknowledge the human side of it.
No, definitely.
It's not a chicken fight, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
and this harks back a little bit to, I think, what Zero was tweeting a little bit earlier in the weekend, which was like how competitive is like ruined for him. He was like coined as like the villain, the bad guy, the guy to everyone to beat, and I think that's a can of worms. I don't want to get into that right now. I don't want to get clipped. Sure. I don't want to get into that. But I think that is in an extreme, super extreme case, like when you over brand something or over term somebody or a playstyle or this or that, it could hurt the perceptions of it. And I think that happens both inadvertently and purposely. For example, if an Olimar player walks up, it's like, all right, let me change the set. But if Shootone walks up, it's like, all right, let me see what he's going to do. It's a toss up. And that's also what you get in any sport. So if it's going to be like, all right, this like big shot team going against this like underdog, you want to root against the underdog, because the Lakers have been always this or that, or the Patriots or this, like classically like known teams, Yankees, etc. Like that's kind of what forms. Like you cannot have every, like, yes, there are forced narratives, but you can't have every match just like in a vacuum. Like, bro, like T walking up to Mars is that there's things at play. So move on to the question. Do you see one you got to ask? Because I got one here about Hero.
Go for it.
All right. Incognito, the underscore Incognito asks, has there been any solidified solution for Hero's language barrier issue? Funny you should ask that, because T totally decimated Salem, despite there being the hero pick. What we discovered this weekend was hero is definitely engineered for zoners, and we said that because one, a zoner wants to keep the space, slow down the tempo. Hero wants time to read the menu, so that immediately plays into his game plan. Two, as Hero uses spells, it removes them from the menu, such as heal, using it twice. What else was there? There were like a couple other spells, and if you get bounce online, But like getting rid of the Q so you get to bounce faster. Yeah. The whole thing's ridiculous when you think about it, how engineered quote unquote hero is towards zoners. But the second a zoner, like for example, Pac-Man, which is half zoner, half minigame, walks up to you like T did, then it wasn't even a factor. And we even saw that with some of the other players too. And I don't know if he played against Raito, but T definitely did, and he didn't know English, and he smacked him. So I think that hopefully this would be a very specific change, but it'd be a quality of life change. If Hero were in an update, his menu was improved by adding icons. So like for snooze or whatever, it was like Z's, or they were color coded. That would be a solution, or increase accessibility, or remove the barrier to reading. But as far as tournaments go, like this is my land, this is your land. Like that's kind of what's gonna happen for now. I don't think there's a palpable solution. Banning Hero, I don't think is a palpable solution either. So I think that'll cover it.
Yeah.
Any other ones that you see, Coney?
I'm still looking down.
I refreshed the chat.
Legorin, here we go.
Legorin. I don't know.
Any thoughts on Sakurai taking special interest in Joker and Palutena from the top players of the World Championships?
Did you see that, by the way? When did that happen?
It was this weekend. It's speculation. I think people.
Well, hey, listen. When M2K
in Smash 4,
when M2K and Zero like won those Japanese things in front of Sakurai, like those next patches were pretty targeted, dude.
Yeah.
You think it'll?
It's all yeah. It was last night. Okay, there we go. That's what I thought. I mean, it's all speculation. We don't know what's going through Sakurai's mind. We don't know if he cares. Like, who knows? I don't know.
Okay, I respect that.
I don't like speculating on this show that much, or on any show, because it feels, especially about Nintendo stuff. I'll speculate all the time about stuff we can control or stuff that but Nintendo is so wacky. Like,
I think there's some fun in it, but at the same time, again, like this is such a niche community, such a niche interest that like to consider that Sakurai would give more than a few minutes to think about character balance patches based off the interactions on a Sunday night is like pretty presumptuous. Like I think he could or he wouldn't. Like he could also just keep working on adding more content, and that's whatever. Then what's his name? Terry comes out, and then that's really what he cares about. But here's a question that got resubmitted, so they're gonna get upset if I don't answer. This is coming to us from C Doom Chu. Who do you think are the players on the cusp of making it onto the PGR but are not quite there yet?
Oh God, that's a difficult thing to answer because there are 50 people on the PGR, and I got to think about who's on it and who is. But I think Larry is a good case now.
Yeah, I think Larry is a cusp player. I keep seeing and hearing Pandarian, so I think he's also a cusp player or has made it. I haven't followed his results. I think a couple people moved from being on it to like being on the cusp themselves.
I think that's more what's happening, is like less breakout superstars that are going to get in the top 50 and more people that were in the top 50 that have sort of.
Yeah, so if we look at it right now, the top 10's pretty much returning, or the top 9 if you know what I mean. 11 through 15, 16 through 20. Rivers, he's doing well. ESM MVD. T, obviously amazing. Glutoni probably straight up to top 10 if I'm recalling correctly. Myron, I don't know. Myron might be he'll definitely head down from 13, I believe.
I think he had one big win. I can't remember what it was, but it was recent.
Yeah.
And it sort of was suggesting that he might still be on, maybe like 40 something, 30 something.
35 and above. Cosmos probably dropping out of top 15, top 20 altogether, if I'm being real.
Right now, but he had a great run at Thunder, and if he can keep doing that, that's good. That's why I was happy to see him doing it, because like, it's good to see Inkling play at that level.
Wizzy's shooting up. Another person probably not returning to the PGR. Yeti, haven't followed. Ryuga, I think, doing pretty okay. Mr. R, I think, has been doing better. Prodigy, Mr. E, Goblin, Abadango doing better for sure. Yeah. Scat, he got 9th at Big House, I believe. Yes. Just under everyone's radar. Scat, always relevant, but never talked about.
Myron beat Zachary, that's what it was. Yeah, because I remember that he beat somebody really good, and Zachary beat Big House, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, Umaki, haven't heard too much. Gonzalez, haven't heard too much. Sue, I think, pretty safe to say. Niatono, I actually haven't heard too much either. Frozen, T, Fatality, Suarez, Captain L. Yeah, they might be cuspers. They might be Area 51ers. But people who haven't made it better on the cusp, I mean, Larry, honestly. Funny case, you know, like, he was such a name, and now he's, like, still a name, but it's just difficult.
We know he's good.
Yeah. Void, people were talking about how will he do on the upcoming. I mean, that's difficult. He didn't do Thunder. He DQ'd himself / walked out on Big House. And, like, Pichu's different. Pichu's way different.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we got time for one or two more.
Sure.
Since this extended Q&A has been pretty extended. Apart from that, if you're listening, like I said, on Spotify or iTunes, next time if the show is on your feed and you come into Twitch, like all these people are right now, you can shoot us a question and we can take a shot at answering it. So
I've got a quick one here.
Hit it up.
So I made a joke on Twitter recently saying that isn't it crazy that Melee HD would solve all of our problems?
Oh my god.
Najit said, "What did you mean when you said that?" It's like a half joke. Because if they make Melee HD, you don't make that for the casual base. I know a lot of casuals do want to go back to it and say that they like it, and I think a lot of people would download it in the eShop. But you sort of have to market that as like a big thing. And if Nintendo did that, even if it's not like a big Overwatch League circuit, but if you're gonna remake Melee, if you're gonna make Melee HD, you have to. It is intrinsically linked with the competitive community. You can't put it out and be like ignorant of it, be like, oh, I didn't even know this was happening. So the problem with Nintendo for Ultimate, as I see it, is that they don't want to fully embrace acknowledge esports because it's sort of against their company branding. But if you make Melee, all bets are off. So if you make that Melee game, it fixes the CRT problem, it fixes Nintendo's involvement problem, it fixes all the issues with like hands and controls and stuff like that. I think it can solve a lot of issues.
Or create just as many, considering the fact that Melee is the pickiest community probably in the entire esports offline realm.
What if they use PAL? What if they change literally anything? If Fox Shine is frame 3, we are not migrating.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
even
even
little things.
And it's not only that, but it'd have to be not only a direct port, but then how does lag is that introduced? I mean, currently I know Hacks is like working out things to make it lagless on monitors. Like a bunch of people are trying to they're using things called gecko codes, things that are like literally like developer mode, you know, just trying to make Melee lagless on a monitor instead of a CRT. So if Nintendo could do it, then that would be different, but it could create an issue where then now like Melee's available, let's go, it's on the Switch, but it's got 11 frames of input delay. Like, oh my god.
Anyway, that was just a quick thing. It was a joke, but it was half joking because I do think that it could probably solve a lot of the, at least like passively solve some of the issues. But
yeah. Let's see. One more. I know that people are like asking over and over, but if we're not answering,
because that didn't count. That was a bonus.
Okay, so A Supernova 369 Panda Global. Do you think that the meta will become Counterpick Wars after Zachary played 5 characters at a major? No. I think at the top level you will need to be comfortable doing that, similar to the end of Smash 4. Leo and Tweak were doing that, but to say that like your mid-level Ohioan 15th on the PR is going to go to Genesis 7 and pull out 4 characters and play at a like commensurable level to a PGR player and win, like, no. That's picking up a character it's such a crazy cool thing, but it's like such a like the way that these people, like the way how Tweak has gone from Wario to Young Link to Wolf to Trainer to Banjo to all these things at that level, like what he puts into a character for a month or two will be more than people will put into characters for years. And that's because like their natural talent and like understanding of the game allows them to tap into the character's potential much faster than any of us. And the less time you spend on a character at quote unquote our level, the less dividends you'll get in the end. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And because of that, I don't feel like we're gonna see Counterpick wars all over like tournaments and majors. Only at the top level, tippy top 5, top 10 if anything. Like,
and even then, I don't think that's gonna happen all that much.
No. Cosmos will still just play Inkling. Wizzy will just still play Mario. Like that's
Fox, or Light playing Fox. Yeah, there's a lot more just specialists.
Counterpicking will not solve your problems and only create new ones, but it could be the answer to particular problems. But that's not. You shouldn't switch over everything. You shouldn't take the water out of the fish tank just because of that and switch it with something else. So, last one. All right, I'll honor this Wonder raid. I'll ask again, Panda Global, any thoughts on Wolf's place in the metagame? Relevant as ever. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I don't think he's insane in the sense that other characters are able to benefit from projectiles and movement at a rate that Wolf can't. But I think his edge guarding is best in the game, like at least top 5.
He's a little
mobility holds him back a lot.
When you say edge guarding, you oh crap. Food's here. Keep stalling. I'll be right back. I gotta pick something up.
So what I mean edge guarding, so like the amount of disjoints that you're afforded by Wolf, the amount of inadvertent pressure because of those disjoints, and then all the things that you can throw out when someone's at ledge, I think is great for Wolf. I think that he's safely top tier. I don't even really care about the numbers aspect of it, but like he's definitely a relevant character in the top 15, if not top 10. I think that Zachary electing to use him in certain cases speaks more to his understanding of like matchups, more so than just staying on him, because of course Zachary came to us just playing Wolf. Now he's showing us Rob, he's showing us Trainer, he's showing us even sometimes Joker. But I think as people start to space better against Wolf, people start to understand Wolf more off stage, he'll drop, but he'll never not be a threat. I think as a comparison to the previous title, Wolf sits at a level that
sorry.
No, you're fine.
All right, I'm back.
I think that Wolf sits at a level that he's going to be a threat at any point in the bracket, and you need to be careful around him. But a mid-level Wolf will not give you as much trouble as a mid-level Joker, if that makes sense.
I disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
I think Wolf is the best of a certain character archetype in the game. Sort of sits in the same realm as like the Marios, Luigi's, the Wolf, or the Wario's. Like, he hits with his body, right? He does have a projectile, but it's not like it obviously doesn't define him. It's one of the best projectiles in the game, if not the best.
Definitely not the best.
Yeah, you don't think so?
The best?
Yeah. You don't think Wolf Laser is one of the best in the game?
Top 3.
Against what, Nikita?
Yeah, so Nikita would be the best projectile in the game, and then it's up there. It's up there. It's definitely up there.
I don't think so anymore. Because here's the thing. I think more people... I personally thought that Nikita was the best move in the game for a long time, but people have really found ways to get around it. I think the risk-reward is still stupid, but I think people sort of... It's less scary than it used to be. Less people are getting hit by it, unless you're Ben Gold and playing K-Rule, because, good God, I don't like your K-Rule. Sorry. That's what you get. Anyway, Wolf is the best of a character archetype. I guess you would call it a brawler. Like, he hits with his body. He has some really strong moves and some pretty strong moves.
It's the disjoints.
Yeah, he has some disjoint. He does not have a bad move. He does not have a single bad move. Maybe jab. Every other move is good.
Which they fixed.
Yeah, I mean, up B his recovery isn't great, but it can punish you if you try to go to it.
Also, Turnip, Gyro, and Bell outclass Wolf's Laser, probably. According to the chat. Well, Turnip, like, in itself...
So here's the thing. Laser is like a free 10% if you use it every, like, 20-30 seconds. Because there's no way to interact with Wolf and aggress on Wolf and also not get lasered.
Kaboom is the best projectile in the game, confirmed. We saw that this weekend. That's uncontested.
if Kaboom didn't have a menu, it would be busted.
Oh, of course.
If Kaboom was like his neutral B, oh my god. Could you imagine?
I wish, no, that's...
So I think Wolf is the best, like, all-rounder in the game. And what that means is he's pretty easy to pick up. He fits certain scenarios very well. Most notably, we saw what happened when players were shifting to Wolf at Big House. Nairo and Tweak pulled out Wolf when they were it looked like they were going to lose otherwise, and just started neutral airing at people. Why? Because Wolf's neutral air goes through Pikmin, just comes right down, and it just beats certain moves. It's just it's
kick.
Better. Yeah, it's one of the best of those moves in
like
the game.
Samus and Melee.
So I think that Wolf will always have his place in that way, but I think he's maybe not linear, but
he's definitely linear.
I think so too.
He's more linear than not. It's not like Zero Suit. Jeez.
Yeah, he's definitely more linear than not, and because of that, you can sort of, and I think that that's sort of true of any brawler, with the exception of because even Mario can be a little bit more creative because he's so mobile, but even still, you know what Mario's going to do, especially if you're above him. Mm-hmm. So I think Wolf just kind of fits that archetype really well, and the fact that he's not hard to play, and of course when I say not hard to play, I mean like comparatively, every character is hard to play at a top level. Blah, blah, blah. You're not going to pick up a Wolf and then win your local. I tried, trust me. But Wolf he's very good, and I think players can have him in their pocket a lot for certain matchups. Like Olimar, that's another one.
Perfect. I think that covers his place in the meta. Always a threat. But I think he has less to be optimized than the other characters, which will lead to more counterplay being solved earlier, IMO. But yeah, I think that'll cover it. We somehow hit an hour, even though we're trying to keep it short. So that'll wrap up this episode of Smash Center. I think the Q&A was pretty great this time, as it always is. You guys never disappoint. Coney, last words before we sign off?
Nope. Thank you guys for watching. Always like doing the show, talking to you guys. If your question didn't get answered, sorry, come back next week. We do this every Monday now. We used to do it Tuesdays, but now I have birthing classes on Mondays, so maybe that'll get fixed. Next week's going to be hard, because I fly out to Summit on Tuesday. So I think we're doing the birthing class on Monday, which means that I don't know when I'll be available, but we'll figure something out.
Maybe late night Monday. In any case, thank you. We have the perfect song coming on now to close the show out. Coney, get out of here. Thank you for being here. See you on Twitch. We'll see you on Twitter. But in any case, you're with me now. We're closing out on Smash Center. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for honestly just tuning in, both notable and soon to be notable. New way to phrase it. You're not notable, but EE, Viram, Toasty, everybody in the chat that comes by every now and then, D1, whoever. You guys keep us going, and then all the regulars that we got always tuning in, people like Vanna Black, Nagoran. We see you. We recognize you. But I really did not need this song to be on right now. But thank you. We're going to have a guest scheduled for us after Summit, which hopefully doesn't spoil who it's going to be, since it's after a pretty monumental event. But we're heading into November now, which means we're heading into December, which means the year's over, pretty much. And by the way, there's only, it looks like, 2.5 months left in the decade. So anybody you know born in 2000 is going to be 20 years old. That is weird. And it's funny, because if anyone's wondering on the commentary, when Coney asked me how old I was, because I said that Dark Wizzy wasn't wearing his original Black Mario palette, and I said he's wearing the original N64, which is like an obvious joke. Original N64 Mario palette, and Coney's like, "How old are you?" And as he was talking, I just muttered 2000, like, or when were you born? What year were you born? And I said 2001. I'm not 18. What is wrong with all of you? But in any case, we'll have a special guest after Summit. I want to, and I memed at it before, but I want to give away at episode 50. We just got to think of something to give away. Maybe a lock of my hair, or a lock of Coney's beard. We'll see. But in any case, if you're hearing this on iTunes, Spotify, thanks for the support. YouTube, thank you for the view. Leave a comment. Tell us what you want to see next time. We're going to have Nightmare on Smashville this weekend, so hopefully it pops off. 2GG never disappoints in that aspect. But for anybody else, thank you. Tell someone you love them, and we're gonna see you next week after Nightmare on Smash Roll. Maybe another C or B tier that happens in the area, or not in the area, but you know what I mean. In any case, thank you, love you, and just keep listening to this amazing track, and I'll see you next time.